welcome to the Sharpe Way show. So happy that you have joined me this evening, 7 p.m. on the East Coast. I'm here. I know Christmas is coming, but I'm still here. I'm going to be here tomorrow to Christmas Eve show. Yes, I'm crazy, but so what? You know what I'm going to ask you to do? Please do it right now. Like, comment, share. Yes, click the like button. Do that. Comment, say something. Let them algorithms know that we are rocking and rolling, that things are happening here. As always, if you've got those big dollars, Trump bucks might be coming soon. Throw me some of your Trump bucks if you're going to get them. 10 bucks, 20 bucks. If you got the big dollars, throw me 100 bucks, whatever you can to get me going, to keep me working on this show. As always, if you don't have that cash, okay, head over to theadvocates.org. Check their world's smallest political quiz. Share it. It's free. It's a couple minutes. I like it. They like it. Everybody's happy. Or, of course, if you are someone who thinks that CBD products should be part of your health regimen, head over to grownselection.com. Type in Sharpe Way 20 for 20% off. Now, I've added a new segment. I know some of you really like my Tuesdays with Andy, which comes from the Tuesdays with Maury book, if some of you may remember that book, when I kind of talk about what Andrew Cuomo, my illustrious king of New York State, says, His Majesty King Andrew II, all hail the king. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I show you the difference between governor, my glorious governor, and my mayor. Yes, Mayor de Blasio. They are different people, and I've expressed to you before, they're different, and I'm going to show you because today it's Wednesdays with William de Blasio. By the way, I could do Wednesdays with Wilhelm, the German pronunciation, because that's his actual name. Some of you don't know this, but 20 years ago, my mayor, Bill de Blasio, was not William de Blasio. He was Warren Wilhelm. That's who he was. He changed his name to run for office. Yeah, I should do that too. I'm going to be Vin Diesel. I'm going to change my name to Vin Diesel next time I run for governor because, hey, maybe that's a good one. Or, I don't know, Dwayne Johnson. I'm going to change my name to Dwayne, and my middle name will be The Rock, will be my middle name, Johnson. I'll do that next time I run. Perhaps I'll do better than I did last time. But anyway, he is a different person. Absolutely a different person. And I will bring, let me just show you, because I think you'll enjoy this. He starts off, this is Monday. He starts off just wonderfully, and it really shows you exactly who he is.
You know, I will tell you something pretty unusual that happened the last few days.
This is him talking, the last few days. He's going to tell us, what's been happening with him. And I think you're going to enjoy this.
Something I said a few days ago, we're talking about how we address fairness and equity in our schools. And
now that is a critical piece. If you are a Democrat, you probably like hearing that, right? You hear fairness and equity. I like fairness. That sounds amazing. Let's see how this is going to play out.
Talked about how we create more diversity in our schools, how we address a segregated past and move forward.
How we deal with a segregated past. Now, here's the part I like and move forward. Segregation in New York City is not past. It's today. It's the present under his watch. New York City has some of the most segregated schools in the entire country, right? On the East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter. We all think, oh, it's those southern states. They're all segregated. Not anymore. They were. You go back 70 years. Yes. Even 60 years. Yes. Now, they're more segregated than we are. New York City, most segregated. Now you're going to fix it. You've been mayor, 7 years? Now you're going to fix it. All right. I love it. Give me your plan.
How we create fairness and justice. We talked about that.
How we create justice. Love that. Once you hear that, you know there's trouble.
On Friday. And Fox News apparently was very interested in that. And they quoted one of the sentences that I said. I said that we needed to recognize if we were going to address all this structural inequality, structural racism, we would actually have to do things differently. And
wait a minute. So it took you 7 years to figure this out? Okay. Hey, I love it. Give me your cool plan.
So here's the quote from Fox News summarizing. They said NYC mayor sees the redistribution of wealth as an important factor toward ending structural racism in education. I'm going to say.
Now, hold on. When he actually said redistribution of wealth as an important factor toward ending structural racism in education, when Fox News put that out, that was an insult. Like Fox News was saying, see, look at what this crazy man will do. Watch how he handles it.
One more time, in case Fox News is watching again. NYC mayor sees the redistribution of wealth as an important factor towards ending structural racism in education.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I don't get to say it very often, but Fox News got it exactly right.
This is what I mean, right? When he's saying this, he's proud of this. And what you've seen me beat up His Majesty King Andrew Cuomo II, oh, Hail King, you've seen me beat him up because Cuomo is a bad person who is selfish and just wants to enforce his will. This guy's also terrible. Don't get me wrong. He's also terrible, but he really believes it. Look at his face. He's a true believer. He's not mad. He's not shaking his fist going, I'll show you like Cuomo does. He's like, see, yes. Look, if just more of us would embrace this socialism stuff, we'd all be great. I know that I take 80% of your money, but if I took 90%, see, then we'd have this socialist utopia I've been telling you about all these years. This is how he actually feels.
Amen.
Amen.
We are going to fight structural racism through redistribution. So
I am taking your money. Just accept that as true. I'm taking it. There's no joke. I'm coming for your money. Look, at a minimum, we're getting honesty here, right? At least that he's like, I'm coming for your money. I'm taking it. Andrew, don't even try to have some money because I'm taking it and I'm giving it to whoever I think is correct. And the thing about it is, this is the worst part. We voted for him and elected him twice. This isn't new for him. Like, he's not going, ha, 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 now it's my last year, and I'll show you my true socialist ways. No, he was like this for 7 years. We knew exactly what we were getting. And here it is.
Fox News, congratulations. Fair and balanced coverage right there. In fact, if we think we're going to deal with structural racism and segregation without redistributing wealth, we're kidding ourselves. We got to be real about nothing changes unless you put the resources behind it.
No, so unless I take your money, you know what? If I don't get your money, Brandon, it ain't going to work. So I'm just going to take your money.
And that's what we're doing. We're going to make sure our kids have the support they need now, and especially in the new school year when everyone comes back into the school buildings.
Mm-hmm. And now here's what I make sure you may or may not know. He says we're going to make sure they have all the resources that we need. And the funny part is, some of you may not know this. The average across America, the average spend on a child per year, K through 12 education, is about $12,000 to $13,000. In that area, it depends on where you are. That's the average. About $12,000 to $13,000 is the average. How much does New York State spend? $22,000 per kid average. How much does New York City spend per kid? $28,000 per kid. So New York City spends double the amount, over double the amount of the average kid in America. Well, you might say, well, Larry, of course, because New York City has this amazing education system that does so well. Where do you think we're ranked? New York City schools, New York schools are ranked. The highest we are ranked, depending on who ranks us, the highest, 22 out of 50. That's the highest. The lowest, 37th out of 50. So we rank somewhere between 22 and 37 out of 50, spending twice the amount of the average. And by the way, the most in the entire United States. No state spends more than us. We spend the most. $28,000, more than double, and rank between 22 and 37. And I said, well, wait a minute, Larry. Well, how about New York City? I bet that's those terrible upstate schools. That's what that is. But New York City's got to be amazing. Okay, you could think that if you want to. You'd be wrong. Because out of about 1,000 schools ranked by it's like Public School Review or something like that, New York City ranked 350. out of 1,000, 350. So we pay all that money for results that don't even work in their own system. Their own system doesn't work. All right, now I guess now is the real time because COVID's happening and our economy is collapsing and our people are leaving the state. We lost this year, just New York City lost over 400,000 people. Every other city in New York State, besides New York City, doesn't even have that amount of people in the entire city. Their entire city doesn't have that amount of that number of people. We lost that out of New York City this year. 400,000 gone this year. So he's thinking, now let's make some change in education because you know what's the priority? Justice and equality in education. That's the key. I'm a good mayor. Yeah, you are.
That doesn't just mean the academic support. It means the emotional support as well.
The emotional support. So we suck academically. So what we should do is have some emotional support, right? Okay, let's hear this genius plan.
Means making sure the social factor is taken account of as well. Social and emotional learning.
That's our problem. They don't know math. They don't know English. We've created this garbage system called Common Core. And currently our system, for those of you who don't live in New York, and I don't know if your state's that way, but here's how our system works in New York State. If you either have a parent at home that can tutor your kid, or you can afford to pay tutors, or you have an older sibling that can tutor your child, if you have that, your child will be fine. If you don't have that, your child will struggle. That's our current system. If you think I'm making that up or Larry's exaggerating or whatever you think, watch morning TV right after school or during kids getting ready to school. You watch TV locally in New York. What do you see? Nothing but advertisements for Kumon and Huntington Learning, Sylvan Learning, a bunch of tutors. That's what it's about. Go online, put in tutor. Tons of them. Everyone's making tons and tons of money on tutoring because you can't do the help yourself because your kids can't survive because the system's a garbage system. It has nothing to do with this social emotional stuff. But go ahead, Wilhelm. Tell us what's up.
That's something the chancellor's focused on. That's something the first lady is focused.
So the first lady and chancellor aren't focused on the fact that we're ranked somewhere between 22 and 37 while spending $28,000 per kid. That's crap. What we got to worry about is social, emotional, something or other. I think that. Okay.
But it takes on even more importance as we go into this new school year, September 2021. It'll be different than anything we've ever experienced in our lives. So we have to make sure that we are really looking out for our kids.
Oh, because you weren't before, but now you're really looking out for them. You know who's supposed to be looking out for kids? Guys, it's crazy. Family and parents, guardians, grandma, uncle, aunt. They're kind of supposed to be looking out for the kid, but I guess we'll take government instead. And the funniest part is many of you watch it like, this is crazy. How does this guy get elected? Here's the reason why. And one of the reasons why I do this for so many people who watch this, and one of the reasons why I bring so many people on who are different that I bring on the show, most New Yorkers think he's fine. Most New Yorkers are okay with him. They're like, yeah, sounds good to me. Most are actually okay. That's the crazy part.
That we're checking in on them to see what they need. And
we have to be checking in on your kids. I need to be checking in on your kids to see if they've got social emotional stuff going on. You parents, shut up, get out of here, take your check, and be quiet. I'm going to go check in on your kid. That's happening now.
We need help, we're getting it to them.
Yeah, we'll get it to them, not you.
This has been an idea that has long been a core note.
Now watch this. Social, emotional, and academic behavioral screening. What do you think that means? That means some bureaucrat is now going to be interrogating your kid looking for problems. If I'm a bureaucrat and I get paid to solve problems, and I start going through this, am I going to find problems? Yeah. Who's going to pay for that? You. And I don't just mean you as in physically pay your taxes for that. I mean when CPS or Child Protective Services come, yeah. Yes. You're going to pay for that too. When all of a sudden you have to do what the school tells you. When you lose all your rights. Yeah. Right here.
Of Thrive NYC, one of the foundations.
Thrive NYC, because that, we got to give it a cool name. Because what in the world is Big Brother? What in the world is big government? I mean, what is fascism without a cool name? It's nothing. So Thrive NYC. Let's start thriving.
Concepts of Thrive NYC is get there early, help people, particularly young people, early. Provide.
Look at that. The support they need. Access to care. What's access to care mean? Does that mean you're not parenting right? Yes, it does. That's what that means. Don't think it's anything except you're not parenting right. Remember that. You're not parenting right. Make sure every child has access to social/academic support. Why don't you work on the academic side? You already suck at that. Fix that first. How about you let me parent my kid and you teach my kid something without me having to tutor every single bit? Half of the time that I sit here and I taught my daughters now, I'm reteaching it. Why don't you pay me some of those bucks? I'll take some of that social academic support money. Fine.
The support. And if you find out there's a problem, you can do something about it.
Oh,
That's what Thrive has been all about.
That's what it's been all about. Why failing? And you thought, when the right time to do this? In the middle of COVID. Perfect timing, my friend. How much is it going to cost that?
So here to tell you about this really important new initiative for all our public schools and the way it's going to reach all our school kids.
It's going to get all of our kids in your house. Yes, it will, no matter what. You guarantee it will. All of them. I say again, we're ranked between 22 and 37 out of 50. We spend $28,000 now without Super Cool Initiative already now per kid in New York City. Let me say it again, $28,000 per kid. If I gave any parent out there $28,000 and said, teach your kids some stuff, we'd have some smart kids. Oh my God. I got 2 kids. Why don't you give me $56,000 a year? I will produce 2 rocket scientists. I'm not even joking. Give me $56,000 a year. I will produce, from just my 2 kids, I will produce 2 rocket scientists. In fact, tell me what you need. You need an engineer. You need, what do you need? I'll get you an engineer. I'll get you a lawyer, get you a doctor. What do you need? I will clearly produce 2 of those for you for $56,000 a year. No problem.
The leading champion for providing mental health support to all the people of New York City.
Mental health support for New York City. Because you know what New York City's job is? Mental health support. Yes, absolutely.
The person who brought us Thrive NYC, our First Lady, Charlene McCray.
Tell me.
Thank you, Bill.
Oh, my God.
And
tell me.
Good morning, everyone.
Watch this.
I don't know if anyone can be happier than I am today to say.
Oh, my God. Today's a great day. I thought we were just telling us how everyone's dying of COVID. But fine. Okay.
We are bringing social, emotional, and academic behavioral screenings to New York City public schools.
And she's excited about this. This goes back to what I was talking about before. Look, do I really think that these people are bad people? I don't. And some of you will be angry when I say that. But do I think they're completely and utterly wrong, deluded? Yes! This is not a good idea at all. But remember something. We might be watching this going, this is crazy. Most New York City people are like, yeah, okay, we're getting some good. This is going to help the kids. Okay. And you might go, well, I don't care, Larry. I don't live in New York City. This is coming to your city. I've been telling you this, as some of you know this, literally for years. New York State is the battleground state. If we don't change here, every place else gets it. That's how it works. If we can stop them here, we can actually win. Now, some of you are like, well, we got to fight. No, fighting doesn't work. We've been fighting, and this is what we get. It validates how they feel. It makes them fight us harder. We have to actually turn them, show them a better way, provide them with better answers so they go, oh, that answer is way better. Oh, that's a way better answer. Let's do that instead. That's what we have to do. But she thinks she's saving the world right now.
Yes, finally.
Finally, I can control all your children. Yeah.
Nosotros traemos chequeos de rutina enfocados en la conducta social académica.
Now, none of them speak Spanish, so she does the Spanish thing. The Spanish thing gets done constantly in New York City. The governor doesn't do it very much at all because he doesn't care, doesn't want to pander. He doesn't care about that, right? He doesn't. The governor only does any type of, virtual signaling when he thinks there's votes. That's the only time the governor will do it. But the mayor of the city, we will do it all the time. All the time. Why? Is there anyone, don't get me wrong, be very forward. Some of you don't know this. About 25% of New York City is somehow Hispanic, Latin, and somehow probably either comes from a Spanish-speaking country or their ethnic background is from a Spanish-speaking country. So there's a huge chunk of that in New York City, no doubt, about 25%. But those people either are already speak English, and that's why they're watching this because they speak English, or they're watching this on a Spanish channel, right? This is being simulcast on Spanish channels throughout the city. So you can watch it on like a Univision. I'm not sure which Spanish channel it is, but there's Spanish channels you can watch it on. If you only speak Spanish, you're not watching this on the English channel. And if you are watching it on English channel, it's because you speak good English. That's why you're watching the government talk on this channel. That's how that works in New York City. Any of you who've been in New York City, that's how it works. So why in the world are they speaking Spanish? Just a virtual signal. That's it. Just say, see, look, I'm woke. I'm more woke than you. I will say things that someone wrote in Spanish for me, and I'll just read those things. They do it all the time. And you might think, wow, what terrible pandering. I'll say again, though, many New York City people really like it. They're like, yeah, see, we're woke. Look at that. Love it. To me, it's embarrassing. It's horribly bad. But man.
Emocional a las escuelas públicas.
Look at her with a hand. Yeah, see, I'm speaking the Spanish. That's me speaking the Spanish. That's Italian that you're trying to pretend. Just speak your language.
This is a huge moment.
It's a huge moment. We're getting ready to take over everything. It's awesome. We are going to control everything.
Teams at the Department of Health, Department of Education, Health and Hospitals, and Thrive NYC have worked towards this day for a long time.
Well, if they worked for so long, you'd think you've been able to memorize your speech by now and not read it off a book. But then again, maybe you're just incompetent. That's probably that too.
And if you're a parent who sends your child to a pediatrician every year,
yeah,
for physical,
you had to read that part too. Okay, keep reading. Tell me what else did they write for you? Go ahead.
You know the preventive measures that are taken and peace of mind that comes with a regular checkup.
Yeah.
But our nation has never put that same emphasis on engaging the whole child when it comes to.
I know our nation has never thought that the school system's job is to check the mental health and safety of the kid. You're right. We've never done that. And the reason is we shouldn't do that. If I want my kid to get a checkup, I should take my kid to a doctor. I shouldn't take my kid to school for that. My kid should learn how to actually read. I don't know, stuff like that. Civics, that'd be nice. Anything of some substance or value would be nice other than, how do you feel today, Johnny?
Education or prevention when it comes to mental health.
Because school's the place for mental health. That's it. The place where I get bullied, it's the place.
Means educators and families don't have as full an assessment about what our children are doing.
Because you parents are so dumb and incompetent that if it wasn't for us in the government telling you whether your kid's messed up or not, you wouldn't know. So we're going to tell you that your kid's all messed up. We're going to do that, and then you'll have to have us. And if you don't believe us, we'll punish you and your kid. That's where this is going. But it does come from love, I think.
What they need. So think of these screenings as an expanded health checkup for students.
Think of these screenings as an expanded healthcare checkup for students. Do you see how they don't even, They're like, yes, we're winning. They're not upset about this. They're not mad about it. Like, yeah, can't believe it's awesome. Now, our school system sucks. We have a graduation rate that's embarrassing. And you're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to check their mental health. That'll work.
To learn how they are feeling.
Because that matters.
How they are getting along with friends and at home.
That was the key point that so many people didn't hear. How are they getting along with friends and at home? That is the critical piece that when I heard that, I wanted to jump out of my skin. So now school bureaucrats are going to be asking your kids in New York City, how's mommy and daddy doing? Is mommy around? Is dad doing good? I'm not joking. Is there a gun in the house? Yes, that will be asked. Yes, it will. I guarantee you that will be asked. What's your dad do for a living? Is he working now? Does mommy have a boyfriend? All those things are going to now start being asked, and they're going to be taking notes on stuff. Yeah, they are. And where do you think that data is going to go? Yeah, into your file to when they decide you're a criminal. I'm not joking, people. This is New York right now. This is New York City right now. This is going to happen in New York City right now. And you might go, I'm not in New York City. Coming to your city soon. Coming to your city soon. And I want to be clear. They're happy about it. And sadly, most New York City people are also okay with it. The people in my city, many of them are like, this can't be that bad. Larry, you're exaggerating. That would never happen.
Even in the best of times, this is a best practice.
This is a best practice. Since when? I always thought, me being in the business world, best practices are practices that are tested, tried, and true, and that successful organizations do them and tend to have success. That's why they call them best practices. Can you tell me one school system that had children telling administrators and bureaucrats, government bureaucrats, about parents and stuff at home? That would be communist China. That would be Soviet Russia. That would be Nazi Germany. That would be fascist Spain. Yeah, all of those very successful best practices, sure. But free democratic societies, I don't think any of them have done that as best practices. Well, comrade, please go on.
Now, after COVID-19, it is more critical than ever.
That's what it is.
So let me tell you about PS 89 in Queens.
I want to hear this.
The borough that was earlier this year, the epicenter of the crisis.
It was.
Dozens of PS 89 students back then reported COVID-19 had sickened or taken the lives of their loved ones.
Yep, that's true.
These children had lost grandparents.
Yes, they did.
Parents.
They lost grandparents because Governor Cuomo sent them into nursing homes. True. So governor killed them.
The parents had lost jobs.
Jobs because both the governor and the mayor shut down the economy. So government again, grandparents dead because government, jobs killed, career destroyed because government. Keep going.
And they were isolated at home.
I can't go to school because government. So yeah, government did all these things. So who do we need to help us? I bet more government. Let's see.
Every New York City student will carry the experience of this past year.
Of the past pains that your husband and the governor put on us, yes.
In a different way.
Yep.
Some will be processing grief.
True.
And have trouble focusing.
Yes.
Some will rejoice at being back in the classroom.
Yes.
While others will feel uncomfortable.
Sure. The Captain Obvious. I get it. Yes, absolutely.
These screenings will help school staff create individual plans to move forward and help educators make sure that no child falls through the cracks.
Well, let's see. So far, we rank between 22 and 37. So that's big cracks that kids have fallen through already. I think that's obvious. The fact that most of our youth in New York State, once they graduate, they leave the state. That's another massive crack. So we've already got some cracks. So look, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the crazy one here. But you could just try to fix those big ass cracks before you start making more people to shove through it, right? That's just my view on this. If the teachers aren't doing a good job, odds are, now I know teachers, and many of you do too. Most teachers, when they're not doing a good job, It's because the bureaucrats are somehow hamstringing them. That's not always. Of course, there are bad teachers, as there are bad everything. Of course, bad teachers exist. Of course, they do. As every industry has people who are incompetent or bad. Of course, I'm talking about the average teacher. The average teacher is going out of their way to do well, out of their way to teach kids. The average teacher takes that job because they care about teaching the kids. That's why they're doing it. That's why they jump through all the hoops that New York City made them jump through, all the credentialing they had to do. That's why they put up with all the bureaucracy. That's why they put up with it, because they want to do a damn good job. And if you let them go, they'd probably do a damn good job. And for some of you who don't know this, if some of you are old enough, you'll get where I'm coming from. The Department of Education in America had no power. It kind of existed, but it was more like a repository for information, but really had no real power until about 1980. 1980, you get a National Department of Education. From that, others start having deeper and more power, more government control of education. For all of you who were in school prior to 1980, somehow you learned how to read and write and function in America. Somehow we had a space program. Somehow we had big business and computers. Somehow we had doctors and lawyers. Somehow this country figured out how to educate its kids to become professionals and survive in the world and buy cars and buy homes and buy bread and sell stuff. We figured out how to do all these things with a school system without the federal government having to be involved. Is there anyone that you know who would say, since 1980, our education in America has gotten better? Yeah, nobody. Nobody would say that because it's not true. There's no data that would prove that to be true. It's gotten worse. So we've had more and more centralized control and less and worse results by their own measurements. Like, it's not like I'm making up the measurements. Their measurements, worse. So what should we do? More. This is what's happening now. And the problem, of course, is mental health, physical health. That's the issue. The issue is government has created an environment that is so toxic and so horrible in my city that people are having trouble. So the goal is, I've broken your leg, so let me get you a crutch. That's what we're going to do. Oh, I'm not going to stop breaking your leg. That's not going to happen. But just every time I break your leg, I'll make sure there's a crutch here for you the next time I break your leg. So you will always have crutches to hobble around on. You'll never be laying in your bed by yourself. You'll never run again. I mean, I'm not going to let you run. That'd be scary. So I'll keep breaking your legs, but there'll always be a crutch there. This is what this is. And worse, it's usurping the power of the individual in his or her own home.
There are no grades.
No grades.
There are no labels.
Why would you want to grade people? That's stupid, grading people. Labels. Yes, there'll be labels, but it won't be labeling the kid. They'll be labeling the parents. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I'll bet money on it. Anybody want to take me up on that? They'll be labeling the family and the parents. They'll be labeled 100%. I guarantee it.
Or classifications associated with how these questions are asked.
With regard to how the questions are asked, which means, this is the best part, they will ask every kid the same questions. That's what this means. See, that's how New York City and New York State do it. We're not going to be biased because the only thing that matters is bias. Even though there's some common sense stuff we should worry about, we're not going to take any common sense because that might be seen as biased or bigoted or wrong or prejudiced. So no. So that means every kid gets every single question asked. Again, I'll go back to it. How are mommy and daddy doing? Is mommy in the house? Does daddy work? Does mommy work? Who's mommy see? Do they ever yell at you? Do you ever feel abused? Do you ever feel think life is unfair? This is the kind of stuff they're going to ask your kids. Is there a gun in the house? Mommy ever yell at dad? You ever see your parents fight? You ever feel in danger? You ever feel worried? This is what's going to happen. You ever feel anxiety? What kid doesn't feel anxiety? What kid doesn't love the attention of some adult going, are you in trouble? Yeah, I'm in trouble. You ever feel scared? Yeah, I'm scared. Yes. Watch what a disaster this will be. And the worst part is the first group of people who they get, and they will get them, the first group of people they get are going to be so attacked by fellow New York City people. See, I'm so glad we got this system because we found the bad parents, the evil people. Yeah, go get them, de Blasio. Get them, Wilhelm. Go get them. That's what's going to happen until all of a sudden there's too many friends. Then we're like, but wait, this is a bad idea. Too late. Too late. When they came for the Catholics, I said, when it came for the Jews, I said nothing. When it came for the communists, I said nothing. When it came for the Catholics, I said nothing. When it came for me, there was nobody left to say anything. Starting right now.
There is only learning how adults can offer the best support. It's
only learning about adults. We're going to train you, parents. It's screaming at you. We're going to train you, parents, how to indoctrinate your kids effectively. And we wonder why so many people are all up and about conspiracy theories. Why are so many people all about that? You're giving them the ammo right here. You're telling them this. Of course.
We will begin with schools in the neighborhoods hit hardest by this crisis.
So you're going to mess with the poor black and brown kids first. Yeah, because you care. So you're going to destroy those parents. Like you know what government's done really good? I mean, really well when it comes to brown and black neighborhoods across New York City particularly, but across the country. Support them. No, destroy them in every way possible. Just totally devastate them. Go out of your way to put your boot on their neck. And why stop now? Why stop now?
But we want every student to benefit.
Yes, you do.
And we urge a federal stimulus that will help expand this support.
What a coincidence that is. And we urge a federal stimulus. Here's the glory of this plan. They put the plan together that cost tons of money. And they got no money. I love it. We're so happy. We've come up with this awesome plan. How much it costs? I don't know, $1 trillion. Do you have any money? No. But man, it's a great plan. Who's going to pay for it? I don't know, you. Not me. I just come with the plan. I don't pay for it. So now we urge the federal government to write us big checks because we've run out of money. How are we going to pay for this? We've destroyed our own economy. Come on. We've already gone out of our way to crush our own city, to throw out people as fast as we can. We've destroyed upstate years ago, and we're still crushing that. Now we're finally finishing off New York City with the final punches to devastate that city and put that city in the garbage. So we can't pay for this. So you got to. You have to pay for our mistakes. Come on. Socialism. See? It's all our money. We can screw up and you pay for it. Come on now. You know how that works.
Today's announcement, along with our social emotional learning and restorative justice curriculum.
Oh, along with the restorative justice. I didn't hear that one before. So now we're throwing that on top. The restorative justice curriculum. I have an idea. How about better regular curriculum? You already suck. So you think, well, we can't be better, so let's just do this. So let's make the teacher's job even worse. If you're a New York City teacher, I don't know why you stay. Please stay. I don't know why you stay, though. You're stuck with bureaucrats who don't understand anything about what your job is. You're stuck with bureaucrats who don't care about kids learning, who only care about social, academic, and justice, and that social and emotional and justice restoration. Only about that. Teaching them like math and stuff, that's for chumps, obviously. Don't do that. Well, I'm glad you stay. I don't know why you stay. I could never be a teacher in a city.
And community schools reflects a generational shift in education.
A generational shift in education. From bad to absolute garbage. From kind of indoctrination to 100% indoctrination. Okay, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. That was an accurate statement. Okay.
To supporting the whole child.
The whole child.
Socially, emotionally, and academically.
Socially, emotionally, and academically. Could we just go back to the academic one? You already suck at that one. Now you're going to suck at all three. Can you just get better at the first one? That's like saying, you know what? I painted your gate. And it's terrible. Like, I'm really a bad painter. It looks like a child did it. So instead of me just repainting your gate and getting it right, I'm gonna paint your roof and your windows. Oh no, it's all gonna suck. But it'll all be painted. It'll be terrible, but it'll all be painted. Or you could just fix my fence, homeboy. You can just do that. Fix my fence. Make it so that every single parent I know in New York City, and I know many of them, if any of them actually care about their children and they have the means, not all have the means, but if they care about their kids and have means, they all have some form of tutor. I'm not joking when I say that. They all have some form of tutor. Change that. Change that to where the system actually works for the average kid. Change that. That will be my massive, awesome plan. And I let the social justice stuff happen as it happens within the homes. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If you think that social justice reformation is a critical part of what your kid should learn, then you should teach that to your kid. Absolutely. If that's where you stand and that's what you believe is important, you should teach your kid that. We should all teach our kids the things that we think are important socially, emotionally. We should teach them that. Of course we should. New York City schools shouldn't be doing that. That's not what New York City schools should be about. That's what parents and family are about. If that matters to you, you have every right to make that a very important part of your life. And you then teach your kids that. Then live that lifestyle and teach your kids that. Why are you forcing every other kid to fall into your style, your culture, your answer? I guess that's diversity. I guess.
New York City is leading the way.
Yeah, it is. Yes, she is not lying. Leading the way. We are so going to take control of all your kids. You won't have to parent at all. You can just have a kid and leave, and we'll take it from here. We got you. Don't worry about it. Just keep having a job so you can keep giving us money, but we got you from here.
Because we know.
You know. Yes, you do. Better than I do. Clearly.
It's easier and less expensive to grow a healthy child than it is to mend a broken adult.
Is that right?
There is no better investment than our young people.
Is that right?
And when our young people succeed, our city succeeds.
But our young people aren't succeeding. They're leaving. That's not, well, I guess, you know what? I guess some are succeeding, but we're not. We're losing population like there's no tomorrow. For those who don't know, New York State is going to lose at least 2 congressional seats this time around. We're going to lose 2 congressional seats because we've lost almost 2 million people. Yeah, we're not really succeeding. This is just stuff you're making up. You're just making stuff up. It's not real. She's just making this up.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you so much. And Charlene, I can hear the passion and the joy in your voice. She is
going to control a whole lot of people. Yes, I can hear the passion in your voice. We are taking over everything. They're all coming under our boot. Aha, glory.
That you've had and a lot of other good people have had for a long, long time.
Okay, I don't know about good people. People, good, maybe.
And now it will come to fruition starting in September. And we're going to be able to do so much good for so many children.
That's not true.
This has been a labor of love for a lot of people.
See, I'm not sure about that one either. Some of you, it is. I mean, some people actually think this is a good idea. And to be forward, I know I'm kind of being flippant and joking because it's fun, but there are people who actually believe this is the right answer. Like, they're like, yes, this is so going to work. I know it's always failed every single time it's ever been tried ever throughout the history of humanity. But this time, man, we got it right. They honestly believe that.
I want to thank our Deputy Chancellor for School Climate and Wellness, LaShawn Robinson, who's put her heart and soul into
Deputy
this
for
work.
School Climate and Wellness. That's an actual job that probably pays $300,000 a year. That's an actual job. You heard that. That's a real job title in New York City. Probably gets $300,000 a year. And when I said that money, that's not crazy. There are a lot of administrators in New York State particularly, who make over $300,000 a year. I'm not joking. Do your homework. I think I'm making it up. That person probably makes $200,000 a year.
Architects of so much of what we've done with social emotional learning. Also,
so much of what we've done with social emotional learning. 1 in 4 kids in New York State has suicidal ideation. Well done. Winning.
Someone who's really gotten under the hood and figured out how we could make this work in our schools day after day.
Yeah, but you got to pay for it. Homeboy, you got to pay for it. You heard what your wife said. She said, yeah, well, you know, federal government's got to write a check. Got to pay for it.
He's a former principal, and he's been our senior advisor for education, Brandon.
Oh, he's our senior advisor, former principal. Yeah, okay. So he came up the union, and now the consultant also getting $300,000 a year as a consultant. I want his job. Clearly, I'm doing the wrong thing. I should be grifting too. I've made an error. You know what this whole thing's about? Jealousy. I'm mad because I'm not making $300,000 a year grifting the city. I should be. That's my problem.
Hernandez, thank you for the amazing work you've done. I know you truly, truly believe in this approach.
That's true. They do believe this stuff. And this is my point that I keep bringing up. As people say things like, well, Larry, we just got to fight them. This is not, you've got to change their minds. They're not going to hear us. You can see it. They're just not going to. We have to be able to convince them and talk them out of this, because if we can get that passion on the side of liberty, if we can get that passion on the side of freedom, imagine what we can actually achieve. Imagine what we could actually do if we can make that turn. I know it's hard. I've already said in 2016, it's a 10-year plan. I'm only 4 years in. I got 6 left. We got lots of time to try to make this work. It will take time, but we can't. If we don't understand them, we can't talk to them and turn them. We can't bring them to our side. We can't show them as a way of making kids happy, parents happy, without government having to step in every single way. This is what they believe. Now, are there some people at the top who are just bad people? Of course. But the average person working here is trying to do the right thing, and they often think it is the right thing.
Thank you for helping it come to life. And I'd like to give you a chance to say a few words about why this is so important, Brandon.
Why it's so important. Watch this guy.
Thank you so much, Mayor de Blasio, First Lady McCray, and Chancellor Carranza.
Yeah, she's a former principal. He's like 25 years old. Yeah, that was, yeah, I'm sure he's talented. $300,000 a year.
You know, today is a historic day.
It's historic because we put on a plan that we can't pay for. It's historic. Meanwhile, the entire city's dying. The city's dying beneath your feet. You haven't missed a paycheck. Neither has the mayor. Neither has his wife. Neither has the chancellor. They haven't missed the paycheck. But historic day. All right.
And one that is truly exciting for all of us educators and parents.
No,
understand.
I'm a parent. This is not exciting. I'm a parent with 2 children in this city. This is not exciting. This is scary. Exciting is the wrong word. We should have said, this is a very fearful time for you because we're about to take everything away from you. That would be accurate.
And the inextricable link between social and emotional well-being, mental health, and academic success.
Yes and no. Yes, there is a link. No, it's not your place. That's the problem. This is a serious problem that many of us have, left and right. And the right acts like they don't do it, but they do it too. They say, this thing is correct or this idea is right, therefore it should be a law and government should do it. No. As I think it was Bastiat, said this. It was, just because I don't want government to do something doesn't mean I don't want it done. I do want my kids to have the best emotional health and mental health that they can have. And if you're a parent, I'm sure you think exactly the same thing. It doesn't mean I think this guy, Wilhelm, and wifey should be doing it for me. It doesn't mean that. Now, can you have an option there that if I want to surrender my parental rights to these guys, I can? Fine, I'll buy that. I'll give that. If I want to give my parental rights over to these guys, I can do it. I wouldn't. But then at least it's voluntary. At least I've chosen to do so. There's no choice here. You're going to have to. And it's going to cost you more money, more time, and you're more beholden to the system than ever. And they're all happy as can be.
See, in New York City educators, we've always understood that our charge is not just to teach content and skills, but to make sure students have the academic, social, and emotional skills.
No. 100% no. Your charge is not to make sure that every kid who's in front of you is the perfect kid. First off, who decides perfect? And second off, that's a parent or guardian or family, depending upon your social unit. That's that person, those people's jobs. A teacher's just one link in that entire fence that parents put around and guardians and families put around their kids. This guy's not like, no. Teachers do it all. Parents stay home. Parents go to work. Oh, you can't go to work because it's New York City. So parents stay home and collect your Trump bucks and let us take care of everything else. By the way, Uncle Joe, writes a big check so we can pay for this.
Tools that will allow them to thrive in college and in their careers.
Why college and why careers and what evidence you have of that? None. You just made that up.
And to realize that incredible goal, we have to know our students, truly know them as individuals and as scholars.
We have to know them as individuals and scholars. So we have to ask all these questions about their home life to get that data. Or you could go, say, prior to, say, 1980 as example, when none of this existed, and somehow people learned stuff. I'm just saying, we have hundreds of years of evidence that somehow people learned stuff in school. Teachers did a pretty good job. I remember many of my teachers that I just loved, I adored. They weren't under the gun from the federal government at all, or the state government. They weren't. And somehow they taught me stuff. We could go there, but I guess I'm crazy.
So that we can teach to their strengths and provide the supports in the areas where they need it.
Or you could just teach them stuff and let teachers figure that out. Teachers who care about kids tend to find that out relatively easy without administrators having to tell them what to do. That's kind of what teachers went to school for, 12 years. I'm making it up, but a lot of time. 6 years, is it? And the teacher's probably going to tell me. I think it's 6 years and then credentials and then masters or whatever. They went to school for this. They did internships. They don't really need you, Mr. Consultant. They don't need you.
And it needs to be said, educators across the city have been doing just that for decades.
Yes. They've been doing just that for decades. Yes. So we need you because why?
As a former New York City public school principal in the South Bronx and a New York City public school teacher, I know firsthand what it's like to have a student who needs additional supports and then grasping for a way to connect them to the care they deserve.
All right. Okay. No, you're like 29 years old and you were principal. So you were a teacher for what, 2 years? And went right to administration. Probably because you were a crappy teacher. But I don't know that, but that's my guess.
I know firsthand the intense work that educators take on, analyzing and reflecting on how our students are doing. And then
no, because you force them to fill out forms they don't care about. It's not because they're doing it. They're actually doing a pretty good job. You've added so many loops and hoops to what they do. That's why it's so hard. It's your fault it's so hard.
Making sure we aren't missing any signs that might help us do our job better.
No, that's not why.
And today, we're launching something that'll make that charge, our charge of educating New York City students, the whole student, easier to realize.
That's not true.
In addition to expanding our partnership with H&H.
Okay, if that's true, why aren't you a teacher? Why don't you go back and teach again? Why aren't you a principal anymore? Why are you a consultant hanging outside telling people what to do and then walking away with a big check? Not that it's a bad thing. I've done the same thing myself. I get it. It's a good gig. And when you can get it, awesome. But I don't go and going, yeah, see this, I know, and I'm smart. Bye, good luck, thanks for the money. That's what he's doing.
We're launching 27 new community schools in neighborhoods hardest hit by the pandemic.
Because that'll work.
And hiring 150 new social workers.
Hiring 150 new social workers. Did I hear that wrong? Who's paying for that? Because you know what New York City schools need? Social workers.
To support those communities. And equally as exciting, in September, we're going to launch a simple screening tool, a social, emotional, and academic behavioral screener that
a behavioral screener. Simple that these 150 government-hired government agents will now implement across New York City. What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
That allows us to check in on the whole child.
To check in on the whole child. Do I have to go any further, guys?
Students connect them to additional supports they need. It's an honor to be here today.
Yeah, it is.
To bring these incredible resources to New York City students,
get that big check.
Families, and educators.
Get that big check.
Thank you, Brandon. Thanks for all the great work you did on this initiative. And now, as I turn to the chancellor, I want to say, when you have a chancellor who really values this important work, it happens.
How about educating our kids? All right, I'm done. I can't go any further. I'm driving you guys nuts. I'm driving myself nuts. You see what's going on here, right? And I bring this up not to be angry at you or to make you angry. I bring this up, this is the future. It's what's happening. It's one of the reasons why I keep doing what I'm doing. It's why I don't just sit in the bubble and talk only to libertarians or only into my world. I bring this out to you for those of you who don't know how bad this is. If you don't live in New York City, you may not see this. Some of you do because you're watching, but some of you aren't. I'm hoping you see this kind of thing. This is the future. Either way, this is the future. All right. Obviously, he's such an embarrassment. At the Museum of Communism in Prague, they should dedicate a section for him next to Fidel Castro and Che Guevara. Yeah, and he would actually go there. If that happened, he would go there and happily accept it. He'd be, oh, I'm so happy. That's the point. This guy, he's a true believer, right? He's a true believer. Cuomo's not. Cuomo just does whatever he can to stay in power. This guy's a true believer. He really thinks he's saving us. He believes it. Oh, you got the William thing. Appreciate that. Excellent. Yes, Warren Wilhelm was his name like in 20 years ago. Now he's running for office and he's Bill de Blasio. Now he's the Italian American. He's Italian New Yorker now all of a sudden. Before he was German, but now he's not. Don't be mad. German's good. It doesn't matter. Yes. Where am I? Yeah, what? Are you saying he's not Italian? I think his mother actually is Italian. I think his father was German and his mother is Italian. I think that's correct. Yes. Larry the Knife Sharpe. Oh, I like that one. That's not bad. Good. That's pretty good. Yes. All right. Yeah. Good evening, Larry. I'm getting my onions ready. Thank you. By the way, did you live in New York your whole life? I spent a lot of my childhood with my family in the U.S. holidays, but now my grandma is dead and my family around Falls and Buff. Oh, the Niagara Falls, Buffalo. Got it. Yeah, no, I was born in Manhattan. For those who don't know, I was adopted. My parents gave me up for adoption as a little guy, as a baby. And my adopted parents took me to Manhattan and then the Bronx, where I grew up as a little kid till around 11 or so. Then my parents got me out to basically work in part-time hustles, got me out to Long Island, Suffolk County for about 6 years there until I was about 17. And then 17, I joined the Marine Corps. I left the Marine Corps. I went overseas for about 8 years total, 10 years total. Then I came back and I lived on Long Island for a short time and then in Queens. And I've been in Queens for the past 20 some odd years. So yes, my time in America has heavily been in New York, but I have lived as a Marine in other places. I lived in Virginia. I lived in California, Oklahoma for a short period of time. So I hope that's clear. So can my mom vote for you as New York governor, even if she doesn't live in New York anymore? She can only vote where she is registered. That's it. If she has no residence in New York State, no. But say she lives here half the year or something, there may be a way. But no residence, no. She'd have to register in her new state or wherever she lives now. So yes. Define fairness and equity. Oh, that's scary, David. See, I didn't know New York City schools were segregated. Is this segregation caused by New York City policies? Yes, of course. Yes, neighborhood policies, mortgage policies, all those things. 100%. Yes, the most segregated. Yes, New York City. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. He's a little late to invent justice, but no one else has got it right, Shelley, but him. Right? He's the only one who's got it right. No one else has it right but him. Absolutely. Yes. Let's see if I can grab some more of these things. All I heard was watch Fox News. Well, he did, I guess. Good for him. I like that. Methinks Cuomo and de Blasio are the updated bosom buddies since Peter Scolari and Tom Hanks, the original ones. It's not bad. They don't really like each other. They don't like each other. Here's the real reason they don't like each other. You might not know this, but the real reason is de Blasio knows the same thing that I know. He knows that Cuomo's not a true believer. And de Blasio wants to be around people who are true believers, who really get that socialism is the way, right? That's the way, Andrew. If I just take all your money, we just need 2 more gulags, just 2 more gulags, then we'll have that socialist paradise that I've been telling you about forever, right? So he's a true believer. Cuomo's not. That's why they don't get along, right? De Blasio gets along with other true believers. You're not that. He doesn't like you. That's the actual reason why they don't get along well. So I think I've seen a baby that probably destroyed a diaper, and that baby had more reason to be proud. Yes, babies sometimes are sometimes proud of that. Yes, absolutely. It's easy to believe the social utopia. Tell us how this is mistaken, Larry. Yeah, it's a great example, right? We as people, as humans, we are social. And we like to be social and to help each other out. It feels good. We do it often. We help our friends, all those things. And could you create an actual socialist utopia? In only one way. It has to be voluntary. Everyone would have to agree into a world that you're all happy with. The best example I can think of is the Amish, right? It's not perfect by any means, but it's the best one I can think of right now. Is it utopia? For the people who live in the Amish world, it probably is as close as you can get. It's the way they want to live. They volunteered to live that way. No one's forcing them. They could leave if they want to, and some do. I know a lot of people who are former Amish, right? That kind of thing. So again, not a perfect example, but that would be a way of creating, I guess, a socialist type utopia, right? But again, it's voluntary. You choose to join there. You want to live that way. This is the way you want to be. And we do sometimes in our own families. Sometimes our families are very socialist. Some families are. Some aren't. But again, it becomes our culture, and when our kids are 18, they can leave it or they can stay or whatever. You get divorced and end it. I mean, it's still, even that is, voluntary, if that makes any sense. So can you create one? Maybe. Close. It's no utopia. But can you create a socialist system that will work? You can, if it's voluntary and everyone who's in it has agreed to live that way, which is why in many cases, socialism works better in homogenous societies. The more homogenous a society is, culturally and everything else, the better chance socialism has to work, because everyone agrees to the rules. Like, we're all okay with how we're living. So it tends to work better. The more heterogeneous your society is, the harder it is to have socialism, and the more violence is required. It's one of the reasons that in almost all socialist societies, the first people who are persecuted are the minorities. Gypsies, Jews, Amish. In America, the Mormons, right? We persecute the minorities because they're not part of the big thing that works well in our socialist society. So it's one of the reasons why they always get punished first, right? Armenians in Turkey, insert thing here. Whenever there's an iron fist, the first people to get trashed are always the minorities. So could you? Yeah, I think that's the only way you could do it, though. That's the only way. So. All right, see if I can keep going here if I could. He only has 3 terms last minute. No, it's 2 actually, Andrew. Only Bloomberg can buy a third. I'm not joking. Bloomberg bought a third. They said, well, the law is only 2 terms. He went, oh, it's a check. And they went, laws? Who needs laws between friends? It's fine. Bloomberg literally bought a 3rd term. But in New York City, you only get 2. So, yeah. All right. See if I can keep going here. If I can keep running. All right. He looks like he's sending the universal choking signal in a freeze frame. That's cute. Yes. We spend double for the 25 rank system. We spend a lot of money. We do. Yes. Yes, absolutely. They do such a bang up job spending our money. Why not take a little more? Chad, I got to tell you, and this goes back to the voluntary piece. People actually do agree with that. And you've seen it, right? And either you've done it yourself, Chad, or you've seen others do it. You give your money to a charity that you like or get behind, whatever that charity is. And the charity shows you some success. Look, we helped this person. We helped this family. We helped these kids. We saved this whale. Whatever's the thing you care about. You go, man, these guys are doing well. And you give them more money. Because you gave them the money voluntarily because something you cared about, whatever that thing was. They showed you some success. You went, I like that. This thing I care about, I'll give them more money. So that does work, just not in this case, because 1, it's not voluntary, and 2, they're doing a horrible job. But the funny part is, if they were actually doing a good job, less people will be unhappy. It'd still be wrong, but less people will be unhappy. They're doing a terrible job, and they're taking more of our money. And the answer is always just more money. If you notice, I won't go any further, but he goes down this, he then begs for money. Because they can't afford it. They made this massive thing in the middle of COVID, destroying our economy, and they don't have any money to pay for it. So they want more. Absolutely. Yeah. 28,000, 2,800 per child. That'd be awesome, Shelly. 28,000, and we can't make a top 100. It's terrible. Yes, it's terrible. So politicians are doing more damage to America than the virus. For the youth, that's absolutely true. That's demonstrably true. Demonstrably true. Absolutely. The liberal mantra, just throw money at it, we'll fix it. Sadly, it's now the government mantra, period. Just throw more money at it. That's all it is. Write bigger checks. Bigger checks. That'll fix it. That's it. So does that mean he will redistribute some of his millions to me? Joseph, I wish that were true. I want that cut. I want that $56,000 to come to me instead. Have me educate my kids. I get to educate 2 kids for $56,000 a year. I like that deal. I'm in. Sign me up. That's what I want. $56,000 to educate 2 kids and still get summers off and every holiday off. And I'm done by 3. I'd be done by like noon, but it's fine. In general, done by 3. I'd be done by noon. Fine. I'd be done by noon. It's a part-time job. I get summers off. $56,000 a year. Not a bad deal. I think I'm in. So I think I'm in. The people are also doing 2 things: fed up with government, hence the riots in the streets, and voting for politicians who want to take our constitutional rights. They are. Yes, absolutely. The Chinese re-education is very emotional, I would imagine. Shelley, well done. Well done. I am sure it's very emotional. I am with you on that one. True. Very emotional. And I'm sure it's social too, and justice-y in some way. I'm sure it is. Yes. Do you have this on YouTube? Yes, absolutely. Simply go to the YouTube page, the Sharpe Way YouTube page, or the Sharpe Way, Larry Sharpe, Libertarian. I'm sorry, YouTube page, Larry Sharpe, Libertarian. Yes, absolutely. It is on YouTube. We're on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all of those. Yes. So, all right. I had a question about public education as a student and in college, especially after waves of reforms shortly after I graduated high school in 1993, and then spending roughly a decade over the 15 in and out of teaching has completely confirmed that all these reforms are at best trash. Thank you, Charlotte. Yes, at best trash. My old unreformed education was far superior, and many of the teachers I became friends with agreed. Massachusetts, I'm sorry to say, in spite of its 1, 2, 3 ratings in most places overall, I think he's going to give me some more later, but I get your point. Yes, I'm one of the rare people. I trust teachers. I know it makes people mad at teachers. I think teachers in general, I mean, obviously, again, you may have had a bad teacher in your life. There are bad teachers. They exist. But I really think the average teacher is dedicated and wants to do the right thing. I think they want to do the right thing. I think they're hampered. And teachers that I've met, those who've quit, they've all quit for the same reason. Too much bureaucracy, being told what to do. They can't teach. We won't let teachers teach. We won't give them a chance to actually fix the problems. So, I think if we give teachers the opportunity to teach, the vast majority, and I mean the vast majority, will do a superior job. Do you really take a teaching job if you don't like kids or don't want kids? I mean, again, there's some people who are going to be bad. But if you could let teachers teach, they actually wouldn't defend the bad teachers. They'd let them go because they'd want to be around better teachers. Maybe I'm crazy, but we've had teachers in this country prior to 1980 for literally 200 years doing a pretty good job. We've had massive innovation, great inventors, teachers, lawyers, doctors, scientists, all coming out of our country from our regular school teacher doing his or her job. I don't think it's crazy at all to think that this could work. I don't think so. Sharpe for mayor. No, thank you. I will pass. Thank you very much. Maybe I'll do governor, but I'm not doing mayor. No, thank you. Absolutely. So Republicans and Democrats are 2 wings of the same plane crash. Nicely done, Pete. Very good. Yes, screenings. I'm scared already. I'm already scared of screenings. Yes. Pamela, are you going to beat me up? Let's see. I'm a teacher. Education will not improve for any demographic until parents value education. That's true also. Without their support and a system of consequences and rewards for their children, nothing will change. So it's a very valid point. And the problem with this is you're finding that because New York State wants to have more of that, they're now having the New York State become the parent, right? I remember when I would go to my kids' when I would go to my kids' parent-teacher night, I'd go there and I would say, a lot of the parents showing up to the teacher night, because I saw that some were there, some weren't. And I asked the question, I said, are they coming? And what the teacher told me was very enlightening. He goes, oh, the ones who show up are the ones who don't need to show up. Right to your point, Pamela. The ones who show up don't need to show up. The ones who show up to parent-teacher night are involved in their kids' education. They don't need to be there. They already know what's up. And when I went there, I knew what's up, right? So I already knew, right? So that was the whole piece. I think it is a problem. I agree. But you also have a situation where the parents are welcome, and the parents can actually help. And in many cases, parents can't because of the way teachers are being done, particularly with the Common Core. So anyway, thank you for your comment. You didn't yell at me. I thought you might be mad at me. So thank you. Yes. All right. Your last two guests probably vote for this guy. Yes, Brendan, you saw last night. Last night, my guests were clearly leaning left. That was obvious. And I was trying to be very polite and nice because I want people to come on the show who are left, who are right. I want to keep the conversations going. So, of course, obviously, there are many things I disagreed with them, but they're trying to make things right for people. They're doing what they believe is correct. Our goal has to be to show them there's a better way. And I tried to nudge a little bit, and I think I got one of them to kind of think, yeah, maybe I'll take what I can get, Brendan, but you are correct. Absolutely. You are correct. Yes, patreon.com/Sharpe Way, please. Absolutely. If you want to, please do that. That would be amazing. Yes. See if I can do this. Because behavior is a child's fault. Always the kid's fault, right? Always the kid's fault. Actually, the reality of it is most of the time behavior is usually no one's fault. It's usually, not always, obviously, it's usually something coming around that person or that kid. How do we talk to these people, right? How do we have that conversation? So this dude is so clueless. 7 years later, the city's shot, and this is what he's worried about. Thank you, Ed. This is exactly what I was thinking. The city is collapsing, and our answer is now we'll come with a very expensive, comprehensive plan to hire more people. 150, not new teachers. Who needs those? 150 new social workers and new paperwork and new ways of controlling kids, because that's what we need now, that the city is somewhere around $10 billion in deficit. Yeah, let's do that. Yes. Dems love to say they support X groups all while pocketing a bit more money than they even help the kids in this. Yes, agreed. It's a money grab, right, Brendan? It's a money grab. There's no doubt it is. So, Larry, your coddling of liberals who are actually leftists or turned a blind leftism is why we're where we're at. Not at all, Bill. I didn't make this. I didn't vote for any of these guys, and I coddle no one. I talk to everyone, but no, I don't coddle liberals or left. Whatever. I don't coddle anybody. But something else you don't realize: liberals and leftists are Americans, and they vote liberal or leftist. So you can yell at them and call them out because you're super cool if you want to, but it's not going to change their mind. The only way you will change their mind so they vote a better way would be if you talk to them. Talking to them is not coddling. Fighting them doesn't work. What does work is talking to them and changing them. That does work. So you should have endorsed Trump. Why? Why would I endorse Trump? He was the closest libertarians with the required charisma and his other plans needs to succeed. No, I shouldn't have endorsed. I didn't endorse Trump, and I shouldn't have endorsed Trump. I remember I was never anti-Trump. You've never heard me yell and scream about how bad Trump was. He's the same as all of them to me, right? Which makes Trump supporters angry when I say that, but he's the same as the rest of them to me. But why should I? What's so much better? He's going to give us $2,000. He's going to spend money too. They all spend money. They all spend money. So no, not at all. We need change, Bill. Real, absolute change at the local level first, which I'm always working towards, and to make more people more libertarian, right? I want more people more libertarian. That's what I want. How much does private school tuition cost in New York City? Not $28,000 a year. That I can tell you. Some of the very expensive schools cost about $20,000 a year, though. There are some, like if you're some, making big dollars, you're pulling in $3 million a year, $10 million a year. That's what you're pulling in. You're sending your kid to a school that costs $20,000 a year tuition. That's true. But that's a school that only people who can afford $20,000 a year go to. So you're not actually sending your kid to a school. You're sending your kid to a networking event for the next 12 years. I mean, that's what you're really doing in that case. So for the average person, not 20 grand a year, probably 6, 8 in that area, depending upon what school you go to, which is still a lot of money for many people, which is why most people can't afford to send their kids to public school, to private school. But it depends, right? I think the last time I sent my kids to private school for a bit, I think it was about 6 grand a year, if I remember right, about 6 grand a year. Plus you pay for X, Y, and Z on the side. It's like 8. One's being about 8 grand a year. So I hope that answers your question. So, I mean, unless you want to go to the super cool ones, now you're paying 20, 25 grand a year for those. So pay me to educate my own kids. Sound rocking. I'm in. 100%. Yes, absolutely. My daughter, the doctor, owes $56,000 in student loans. That's a funny coin. See, if your daughter lived in New York City and they would pay her to train 2 kids, your daughter, the doctor, could teach 2 kids to be doctors and pay her for bills. 1 year. Easy day, Shelly. Easy day. I love that. I guess she's going to be stealing another $1 billion. Yes. What's another $1 billion? Joe, come on. She already stole $1 billion to make up the plan. Now you take another $1 billion and that'll start the plan going. There we go. What's $1 billion between friends, Joe? Oh, I forgot. You're from Staten Island. You don't count. I'm teasing Staten Island people. I'm teasing. It doesn't seem like de Blasio hates Staten Island so much. Only Cuomo hates Staten Island. That's all he cares about. Yes. So let's see if I can keep going. Happy holidays. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Nice guy, Larry, giving the benefit of the doubt to these villains. They're bad, Mr. Wombat. Agreed. The reality of it is they're here. They're not going away. That's the reality. I mean, I make some people angry, I know. But something else more important. There are a lot of New Yorkers who think he's exactly right. He's on the money. They would fight me. Right now, if they heard me saying this, Larry, you're a mean guy. What's wrong with you? You just want to help the kids. Don't you know emotions matter? And the point that I brought up earlier is the one I say again. Just because I want something done doesn't mean I want the government to do it. Just because I don't want the government to do it doesn't mean I don't want it done. Of course, I want our children, all of your children, my children, everybody's children, to have the best the best emotional health they can possibly have, the best mental health they can possibly have. It doesn't mean at all. It does not mean that I need to have the government do it. That's the big difference. That really is it. Yes. So, all right. Let's see if I can keep going here. Suggestion to you to pass on to the LP NYC. Find someone to co-run with the GOP and make de-screwing of education the #1 priority. I was just looking very seriously at the Hillsdale College School Initiative, use a reform school. Yeah, the problem with New York City is the Republican Party cannot win. It's impossible in New York City. I mean, I don't know if you know New York City at all. A Republican cannot win. It is literally impossible now. It's not impossible. The only way a Republican can win is if a Democrat decides to run as a Republican. That's how Bloomberg won, right? That's how, if you just decide, oh, I'm going to run as Republican. And because Bloomberg had so much money, he just bought the Republican line. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to attack Republicans. Well, I kind of am in this city. New York City Republicans here are in bad shape. So he just bought the line. He wrote a check and said, I'm a Republican now, right? They went, yep, you are so Republican, Bloomberg. Yes, you are. And that's how he won. So it's not realistic for a Republican to win a mayoral seat. Republicans do win locally sometimes in New York City, heavily in Staten Island, but also other parts too. I actually had a Republican on who's running for a city council in Queens. I had her on, Felicia Kalin was on last week, in case you happen to notice. So Republicans sometimes win in New York City locally, but to win the mayor, you've just got to be a repackaged Democrat, or you're not going to win in the city. Out of our city council, I think has 51 people on it. 3 are Republicans. 3. This is a deep, deep, deep blue city. Republicans not going to win. It's impossible. Too many people think de Blasio is right. Remember, he won twice. The guy we just saw won twice. And he wasn't changing his tune. He wasn't like he said, ha, 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 it's my last year. Now I'll change. No. He was speaking this way the whole time. Absolutely. So, let's see here. Third world Marxists usually speak Spanish. Well done, Tony. See, he fits. Yes, he does. He fits right in. He's one of them. Yes. You people in New York are screwed. Tom, it's coming to you. Don't think it's staying here. It's coming to you. You better help me fight this now. You better help me change some hearts and minds now. Absolutely. Yes. More African Americans in Chicago than Hispanics. Yeah, in New York, it's about equal. New York, for those who don't know, it's about, there's no majority when it comes to ethnic background in New York. They're all no one's over 50%. It's about 25% Black, about 25% Hispanic, about 35% white, give or take, and the rest is usually a mix of either East Asian or Southern Asian. That's basically the split in New York City. About that, and I think is it 1 in 6 or 1 in 8? I've forgotten. Are Jewish. It's a large population. I think a little under 20%. I think is Jewish. High population. The only place where there is a large Jewish population is actually in Israel. So yeah, a large Jewish population here too. So that's our city. All right. Hold on. New York City is dead. I used to go there often when I was young. It was so much fun. As of now, I can't picture myself going there again. Joseph, come back when we're open. New York City is an amazing place to visit. We have so much good stuff here. You really should come here. Absolutely. It's a great place to visit. Statue of Liberty, Freedom Tower, Wall Street, Broadway, New York Yankees, culture, so much stuff to come visit. If we ever open ourselves up again, please come back. It's a great place to visit. You will not be disappointed at all. So, all right, I'll see if I can grab some of these again. I meant to add the same thing my uncle said from the beginning. It's just another useless program. It is. Yes, absolutely. Blue City underwater physically. Absolutely true. Yes. Larry, when you become governor, you got to bring the Libertarian A-team. I'm going to try. We'll see what happens. Peter Schiff, Secretary of Treasury. Dave Smith, John Salsa, Press Secretary. Matt Kibbe, Education Secretary. And Jason Stapleton, Monetary Secretary of Public Safety. Make it happen. I appreciate that. I love all those guys. I think I've been in almost all their shows. I haven't been with Peter Schiff, though. All the rest I've already been with. Yep, in some way, shape, or form. Yep. Just not Peter Schiff. See, so make that happen, Avi. I appreciate that. So, guys, as always, please do me a favor. If you like what I'm doing, if you're enjoying it, head on over to patreon.com/SharpeWay. Throw me a couple bucks for my $10 is fine if you got it. If you're making the big dollars, and some of you haven't missed a paycheck, you're doing really well. Great. If you are, throw some dollars my way. If you're not, no worries. You know you can help us at advocates.org. Share that test. They just love it if you just share it. Let people see it. It's a great thing to do, of course. And the cheapest thing you can do that can help me out, like, comment, share. Do that so that more people see the show. It helps no matter what spot you are in financially, particularly for the holidays. I get you could be strapped now. I get it. No worries. It does matter. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with a special holiday show. Then I'll be off 3 days, but I decided I'm going to do a show tomorrow. I wasn't going to, but I am because I love you all so much. I will see you all tomorrow.